People are more successful if they don't find love on Love Island.
Opens you up to a world of opportunities.
Children are for life, not just for OK Magazine.
Yes, they just want to be entertained.
Is Love Island about love? Probably not.
There's no real relationship incentive on that show.
Oh my God, I'm so horny and all of this stuff. Welcome to Showbiz Fix Uncut, sponsored by Sun Bingo, where we unpack some of the biggest entertainment stories with the journalists that know all the juicy details. I'm Felicity Cross, Sun's deputy TV editor and a self-proclaimed reality TV baddie. Today, I'm joined by Showbiz reporter Jake Penkethman to investigate whether anyone can ever really find love on telly. Well, Jake, we're often sat in this room on Showbiz Fix talking about the intense drama on Love Island, X on the Beach, and all that kind of show. But today, this is all about love, not drama.
Yeah, we're wanting to find out which of these shows we actually think is the best one to find love. Because like you said, there's all these different components with these programs. There's always drama. There's always like different competition elements. But at the heart of it, which one is going to be the best for someone to find love? And that's what we're hoping to sort of find out, I guess.
Well, I do always enjoy when, for example, the Love Island cast are going in and they think, well, you know, that's the kind of boy I want to date. So this is where I surely must go to find them. When I'm pretty sure you could just find them in Slug and Lettuce on a Saturday night.
Like, are they not going on nights out? Are they not doing all the swiping? Like, they're probably going to find the similar kinds of people, but...
Exactly that. So, I mean, let's start with Love Island.
Yes,
so
let's do it.
as we know, a group of singles move into a villa, they pair up, they dodge eviction, they take part in challenges, and ultimately the aim of the game is staying in a couple until the end to win potentially a big 50k prize pot. So let's break down the 5 benefits of appearing on Love Island. The first being you can find love.
Yeah, of course.
The second is suddenly overnight you become a micro celebrity.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. What does it look like for Love Islanders when they come out? Let's say they've hit 250k followers on Instagram.
I mean, that's it. I think when you're hitting those kind of numbers, 250,000 above, like that opens you up to a world of opportunities, because when you're at that benchmark, you're opening yourself up to incredible sort of brand deals on Instagram, which are things that pay really enormously well. And once you hit that follower count as well, in terms of sort of the media, your profile is raised. So that opens you up to sort of like press opportunities, or you get offered sort of other television programs and that sort of stuff. So there really is sort of an incentive, I think, with Love Island, particularly nowadays, that, you know, you're probably going to reach this number of followers, which then enters you in sort of this fame space.
Shakira from last summer series really broke the fourth wall on this, because she said in an interview, she came out and was like, as long as I've hit 250k, I'll be okay. Yeah. And then obviously she's been more than okay. And
I think that's because there's almost this thing with Love Island now where, I mean, particularly 6-7 years ago, it was very successful. You were going in that show and more often than not, you were coming out with sort of like 1 million followers, which was like insane, kind of unheard of for British reality TV people to get that kind of, not that kind of following straight away, but they've got it like instantly there.
Yeah.
And I think Shakira made a good point in that she was like, in order to have some sort of successful career off the back of this, hitting that 250,000 benchmark allows you some breathing space, because you've not got to worry about tactics to get it up. Like once you've hit that mark, you know, for sort of at least 6-12 months, you're going to be in a good space. And then with the right people around you, that 6 months can turn into, you know, 6 years sometimes.
Yeah, well... We hope and wish. There's obviously the cash prize, 50k.
There is.
Which now they share. So if you're the winner, that's great little jump start back into the world. But then obviously the bigger price tag comes with, if you're entertaining, you'll be asked to do other shows. I mean, the other benefit for me would be the fact that for 2 months, you're locked in a villa in the sun without your phone.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus, right?
I think it is a bonus, because you're literally getting to switch off from the world, not have to deal with sort of life's problems or life's realities, should we say, and you're getting to have a nice luxury 2 months away. Someone's looking after you, making sure you're all right the whole time.
Yeah.
You're getting to maybe find love, and you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to get great opportunity at the end. So I think Love Island really has a great winning formula of all the different elements that someone going on these kind of programs would probably be sort of looking out for.
As a counter though, do you not think sometimes people are more successful if they don't find love on Love Island? Like look at the likes of Scott, Casey, Curtis.
You make a great point. I think it's almost become that little, not even a joke, but that thing within itself that if you don't find love on Love Island, you're probably going to get asked to go back for All Stars, or you might get asked to go on another dating show. We've seen a lot of the Love Islanders cross over into sort of like Ex on the Beach. And so therefore, is it worth not finding love? Because the TV opportunities and of course the money that comes with those TV opportunities could put you in a better position than if you are remained in a committed couple and then those avenues are sort of, they're blocked out. You can't go down that route after the show. So it's very interesting. You've had your Scotts, Casey's, Curtis, and they've almost made a career out of being single. Like that is part of their job and part of their brand.
Yeah.
And it's clearly worked really, really well for them.
They're the most successful, unsuccessful dating show contestants, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Scott also, broke the mold on this because he did Love Island UK, hopped straight to Love Island USA, and then did Love Island Games in the space of 3 months.
Yeah.
And then based on that new American fan base, which he found through those shows, he was cast on Perfect Match. So he's now part of the, the Netflix universe.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
And it is crazy. And I think even just pointing out how Scott went and did the American version and then Games, which is sort of made for the American audience, it just shows that once you've done one Love Island, you can then kind of go and do the international route. Like we've had a few people from the Australian one come over and do the UK one. Obviously, last All Stars, we had a few of the Americans in. So again, it does open you up to being in that sort of Love Island world.
Yeah.
Which you can
If you're single.
If you're single. But then if you're in a committed couple, that sort of avenue is ruled out. You're not going to get to do those rounds. And therefore, are you then putting yourself on a bit of the back burner when it comes to these TV shows?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the people who didn't stay single. Let's talk about love on Love Island.
Yes.
So there have been some people who really did find meaningful relationships. My favourites are Camilla and Jamie.
Yes, I love Camilla and Jamie. I think they were sort of like the first maybe OGs. I know you did have Alex and Olivia Bowe in the series before, but I think for me, Camilla and Jamie were the first ones where when you were actually watching them on the programme, it felt very much like these two are going to stay together. And I mean, they have done ever since. They've now got, I think, 3 children together. They're married. They're living sort of like the perfect luxury life. And they're an incredible example of where it does work well. Yeah. And I think the types of people that Camilla and Jamie are just goes to show that they weren't going in necessarily for like the TV exposure that we've spoken about or the big money sort of social media contracts that come with it. But they've still managed to maintain that presence. They've not gone back to say 9-to-5 jobs, and they've managed to really marry everything together really, really well. Yeah. And at the core of that is the fact that they love each other and they are still together.
Yeah. I mean, the real success story, let's face it, I mean, bar the cheating rumours, of course, is Molly, May and Tommy. They've worked through all that drama. And look, they're a shining example, aren't they? That, they have children, they have a mansion.
They're the example, I would say, where all the elements have worked really well. So of course, they're the biggest earners from the franchise. So that just goes to show that even though they did have stayed in a committed relationship, they've had the engagement, they've had the babies, they've still managed to monetize it in the best way possible. And I think what's really interesting with Molly and Tommy when you look at them is, as much as they're very much a couple and that is part of their brand, as individuals is where their careers have really helped them because, they rarely do things together as a career move. Like Molly is a very successful influencer. All that sort of stuff is on her own. Then you've got Tommy in the sporting world. And I think because they've been able to have those career highlights and career points separate and then the real life stuff at home where they're a couple has shown how they've had the benefits of both and managed to work their way to the top. Yeah.
I really like the wholesome ones though, like Cara and Nathan.
Yeah.
They do the odd TV thing, but really they're just living life.
Yeah. And
Alex
do you
and
think
Olivia,
they're
you've
quite
mentioned.
genuine when you see them from that wholesome point of view?
I mean, 7 Islanders have become parents this year alone.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting because, people do sometimes write Love Island off as saying, oh, it's just a springboard for fame. But this really goes to show like, people are not just having children with people for the sake of it. Like, obviously, they are in a loving relationship. It's committed. And the fact that there's been the parents from this, I think, just goes to show how sort of important it is.
I mean, please, let's not have children for the sake of fame.
Yes. No, let's not be doing that. Then you've got a whole other story going on there.
Children are for life, not just for OK Magazine.
Yes.
Please. I mean, obviously, there's been huge car crash stories as well.
Of course.
Ekin-Su and Davide.
Oh, my personal fave.
Forever in my heart.
I loved Ekin-Su and Davide because I really believed in it. I was invested. I believed in their love story, and I thought it was going to be this magical thing. And obviously, we know it didn't work out for various different reasons. But because I think they've got one of the highest winning percentages on the show in terms
Yeah.
of vote numbers from the final. And I think it was because they were almost, I would say, what a Love Island journey is to a winning couple. Like
Yeah.
they did in the villa, they did get on well, and a lot of people were rooting for them, and there was that some sort of connection. But then there was those fiery elements, and there was those other parts to a relationship dynamic that made for great viewing. And I think they do sum up people that were great for, you know, a well-rounded Love Island journey.
Okay, this is interesting because it brings us back to our original point, which is Love Island about love? Probably not. So we actually did a Sun Readers poll for this year's final.
Yes.
And 83% of our readers felt that Islanders were just in it for fame, 11% for money, and only 6% thought that the Islanders were there to find romance.
Yeah.
But when we asked them, are dating shows over? Only 24% said yes. So it feels like the audience are up for the journey. They're there for the story.
Yes. I think as well, you know, the viewing audience aren't stupid. Like, they're aware of what comes from being on Love Island. And I think at the end of the day, you have to sort of view it like, this is television we're getting in our rooms like for 2 months of the year. Like, we want to watch this sort of stuff and we enjoy it when we watch it. So I think even if the root cause is that they aren't there to find a genuine connection, I think for a lot of viewers, they just want to be entertained. And so even though a lot of them, like you said in our poll, can see that maybe they're not there for genuine love reasons, they don't want the dating show format to be over because they're just invested as a viewer and they want to watch something and be entertained by it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, now let's talk about one of the most overly produced dating shows.
Yes,
And
let's.
actually, it's one of my favourites, Too Hot to Handle.
Oh, why is it one of your favourites? Give me a little
Well, we'll
flavour
talk about
of
why.
Yes.
So people arrive on, well, in the early days, people arrive on Too Hot to Handle believing they're on a different reality show completely. They have a wild first 24 hours. They're all totally obsessed with sex.
Yeah.
Their pieces to camera in the little diary room are just constantly like, oh my God, I'm so horny and all of this stuff. And then 24 hours in, up pops Lana, which is this sort of like Alexa style cone, and says, actually, you're on Too Hot to Handle. Anytime you have any intimacy or physical touch, your prize pot is being reduced. And actually, Too Hot to Handle is all about them not going physical and instead just exploring a proper mental connection.
Yeah.
So my theory on this is that Too Hot to Handle is completely not for anyone that wants to find love, because it's putting you in a situation that is absolutely the opposite of life on the outside world.
It's
What do you think?
very artificial. I think, whereas when we were talking about Love Island, that format is you're in a villa to find love. I think with Too Hot to Handle, from the get-go, once they know it's Too Hot to Handle, it's all about, there's this prize fund. If you do anything intimate, the prize fund starts to go down. And I think that is therefore in your head. And I don't think you're focusing on finding love because the money part of that is there straight from the beginning.
Well, I have a counter to this.
Okay, tell me. I want to know.
Is that Too Hot to Handle is almost like having an affair, because the excitement, I assume, I've never had an affair, I hear comes from, you know, the forbidden.
Yes.
It's what you're not meant to be doing. And so they're so excited about the fact that they've got in the shower together, that it heightens and accelerates what on the outside would be probably quite a normal exchange.
Yeah, I think you're right, because then when they do get up to these things that they shouldn't be doing, it becomes a bit of they're like talking like behind the other one's back, being like, oh, I've done this and I've done that. And it therefore then I think they've become so hyper-focused on that.
Exactly that. So the lust is dialed up.
Yes.
And the sort of risk-reward takes that completely off the scale. But then also the pursuit of the money, because it's the 200K prize pot.
Yeah, it's a lot of money on that show.
Yeah.
And I think with all those elements combined, you're forgetting about finding sort of a relationship connection, because it's just not the part that's at the forefront of your mind. There's all this excitement of getting up to no good and being in this like really lovely place and all these things going on around you. Then there's all the money aspect to it. I just think there's no real relationship incentive on that show, because even when, you know, you see the scenes where Lana pops up and is like, oh, you've lost $10,000 from the prize fund, they're so gutted about that. They're not bothered like, oh, well, it meant that I explored some sort of genuine connection. They're just like, oh, we've lost some money. This is not good. And I think that's so telling because it's just so hyper-focused on that aspect rather than any real relationship.
Well, there has been a couple of real relationships.
But yes, of course there has.
So Emily and Cam, season 2, loved up. They've become parents together. And then Seb and Kayla, they were together for 2 years. So it has spawned some genuine connection.
Yes. I think the way I would look at that is I think they're maybe more the exception to the rule. I think they're the ones that have done well. And I think obviously with dating shows, you expect the exception to the rule to be the ones that haven't done well. It's almost like Too Hot to Handle has flipped that on its head. And like when you do see a successful couple from that show, you're a bit like, oh, like was not expecting that at all.
Well, especially Cam and Emily on the show, it was chaos.
It was chaos. It was volatile. They were breaking rules left, right and centre. So I think particularly with those two, I think for a lot of the fans were like genuinely shocked when it turned out they were still together. And also a show like Too Hot to Handle is filmed so far in advance from when we actually watch it on screen. So by the time we see it and they're still together, then that really is a win for that programme.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I think is a win from this programme is, aside from the money, because usually this prize pot is here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the shows which is a real route to fame, because so often we've now seen how Too Hot to Handle cast members are then they become part of the Netflix cinematic universe, as I like to call it. So we see them pop up on Perfect Match.
We do.
Harry Jalsian and Francesca Farrago have become, Chloe Veach has become household names because of Too Hot to Handle.
She did The Circle as well for Netflix in America. And I think with Too Hot to Handle being a Netflix show, it's as much as you do get the British people on that, it's very Americanized, it's very American produced. And like we talk about these incentives that come afterwards, if you're on a Netflix show, you are earning big money. Like the fees for American reality TV are like huge compared to British reality shows. So if you're successful on Too Hot to Handle and you manage to stay in the Netflix cinematic universe, as you put it, I love that term.
The NCU.
Yes, then you're going to end up doing really well for yourself. So that is another motivating factor.
Yeah. Okay, so philosophical question time. At its core, Too Hot to Handle, it has this huge hypocrisy. And I think that this exposes the problem at the heart of all dating shows, which is it's meant to be for love, to find love.
Yeah.
But the format and production elements throughout are constantly trying to sabotage that.
Yes.
How do we balance this?
I think this is where I would look at Too Hot to Handle and almost be like, is this really a dating show? Because I think, like you said, the format goes against everything what you would expect a dating show. Like they're trying to sabotage this love. And I think for me, in the end, I would say it's bordering more on that reality competition format. Because yes, of course, they're not doing challenges day in, day out, which affect sort of like prize funds and money. But if the competition of that show is to not do things to lose money, then really it's not a dating show in that sense, because you're not going out on dates. You're not doing all these typical dating things.
Yeah.
You're almost competing to retain an amount of money. And so my sort of view on that is it a dating show? I would say it's probably one that's bordering more on this sort of just reality for reality's sake kind of show.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing wrong with that. It's my favourite for a reason.
Yeah.
I always think what's interesting about Too Hot to Handle is it's the same kind of tension as is on X on the Beach, in that sabotage is at the heart of the format. And interestingly, data shows that both Too Hot and X on the Beach offer the slimmest chance of finding a match. 5% for Too Hot to Handle and 4% for X.
Yeah.
So this is just jumping into sort of research on the success couples and that kind of thing. But a show with high success rate,
Yes.
Love is Blind.
Yeah.
So people hold this up as the only true dating show that really goes into the heart of who you are as a person.
Yes.
So this is the one where single men and women are in pods either side of a wall. They have conversations, they date until they find a connection and hope to fall in love sight unseen. They only get to meet each other once one of them has popped the question.
Yes.
Wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's very pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think with this one, it really is, I mean, it's stripped back, isn't it? Like we've spoken about these other shows where it's very produced. And of course, Love is Blind is sort of an unnatural environment. Like, when would you be in a pod with a wall in between you?
Prison.
But, yes, prison-like. But I do think it's kind of taking you, the way you're sort of meeting and connecting with someone is probably the most real. Because although you cannot see them, you're having the types of conversations that you would on a first date in the outside world, or you're getting to know someone's personality for them. It's not about
flinging a pie in someone's face.
Yeah, there's no sort of expectation on like, oh, there's not like a final as such, or there's no end goal other than if you stay together as a couple. So I think with Love is Blind, it's very pure intentions at the beginning.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people always stress about Love is Blind is at the heart of it all is communication.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's built on. That's the foundation.
Yes.
But sometimes we do see them falter when they see each other face to face.
Yes. So this is where the problem's coming with this show, I think.
Am I an evil person because I really quite enjoy the reveal scene?
But then it's really interesting you've said that, because then this is where the good reality TV part hits. Because of course, sometimes it's great. They love it. They're like, oh my God, this has worked out for the best. Perfect match for me.
Yeah. Then
you get those reveals where it's a bit more, take a bit of a step back. They plod along a bit more sort of like slowly.
It's
it's not quite the loving embrace they're probably hoping for.
No. But look, 1 in 3 of the couples from the US edition is still together.
Yeah.
UK's obviously only had 2 series, but similar success rate, 29%.
Yes.
And this surely is because of the communication. But then they go on to have quite a similar experience to other dating shows where they go on a honeymoon, a holiday, and then they move in together.
This is where I think the television part of Love is Blind comes in, because they've spent that, I think it's sometimes about 10 or 12 days doing the pods and really communicating, really getting to know someone. And then they're taken into environments where I think the cameras are around them a bit more. They start mingling with the other people in the so-called experiment. And then that's probably where the cracks for the couples on Love is Blind start to show, because I think then you realize the environment you're in a little bit more. I don't know if you feel the same way about that.
Yeah, I do. And you completely hit the nail on the head there, environment.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really interesting pattern across all dating shows, is we're putting these couples into different environments each show. And who knows, Kayla and Seb, for example, if they'd been on Love Island, may have completely clashed over all of those challenges, but managed to have success on Too Hot to Handle.
Of course.
So I think it's really interesting to think about how the environment of the show matters too. But we do sometimes see how, like I say, when they've had the meet, when they're sharing a bed on the honeymoon, if the physical connection isn't there, even if they've had the best emotional tie in the pods, it can still crash and burn.
And that's like where real life comes into it, I guess. Like, there's always going to be scenarios where, you know, if you match someone on an app and you think, oh, we've got great conversation, and then you meet someone in real life and you're like, actually, this isn't quite what we both thought it would be. I think that's where, as much as we're saying there's this television element to it, they're the real life parts where, you know, the cracks are showing, because, you know, they might not have that physical connection, even if they've spent those 10 days thinking this was the best thing in the world.
Yeah, 100%. So one where there's a little bit more interference, let's call it, is First Dates.
Yes.
Now, this is Channel 4's lovely, long-running, cozy show where people are set up by some matchmakers to go on a first date in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Lovely Fred's there, the lovely team that we know, and they sit down and they have a date.
Yeah.
Completely stripped back. And there's no gimmicks. There's no traps.
No, you're
There's
right.
no tests. It immediately, to me, therefore feels more authentic.
Yes.
What do you think?
I agree 100%. I think it feels way more authentic, because I would say that is the most sort of, everyone that's viewing these kind of shows, the only times they're going to have been in dating situations is very much going to be the same kind of scenario that you would be in First Dates. Like, let's face it, none of us are going to be in a Love Island villa, really.
What?
So, well, maybe there's a few people. Maybe you'll get yourself in there as a bombshell. But yeah, First Dates is probably a lot more what the average person is used to in their real life. So I think from that point, it's very much authentic. What I think with First Dates, where maybe the success rate on that doesn't sort of keep up or match the other shows is first dates, the participants go there, they're there for a few hours on one day, and that's it. As soon as you retreat from that one day of filming in the restaurant, you've not got a producer telling you, oh, well, have a conversation with that man again this morning to talk about how it went, or see them in 3 days to see if you want to go on another date. Whereas all these other programs, like we're saying again about the environment, you're in a space where you're constantly then dissecting that or talking about that or moving it forward, whether it be in one way or another.
Yeah, there's an incentive to pursue it.
Yes. Whereas with first dates, I think you could have had a great date and they might have said, we all see you all the time. They're like, oh, yes, we want to see each other. But then 2 or 3 months down the line, they didn't. And I think it's because there's no pressure. Like once they've done that day of filming, they exchange numbers. And if they want to meet up again, it's all got to be on their own terms.
But, the fact that First Dates has been running for so long and, still rates well, there's no tests.
Yes.
Do we need tests in these dating shows? Can you actually fall in love without being tested? Does there has to be pressure?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because First Dates has been running probably for almost the same length of time that Love Island has, but it's viewed in very much a different way. Like we said, it's a cozy show. It's not about these tests and these challenges. And I think that then, I think, to me, very much depends on your viewing habits. I think it's way more down to how you are as a viewer and what sort of dating shows you want to watch, whether you're watching it for the drama or the juiciness, or if you're watching it to sort of see something a bit cozy, a bit more probably relatable to your own life kind of thing.
Well, it's uplifting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's uplifting. And First Dates is always positive. I think it's very rare that you watch an episode of First Dates and you sort of come away being like, oh gosh, what was that? Whereas Love Island is always throwing up these talking points, or Too Hot to Handle's got some extra element going on that First Dates would never sort of go down that route.
I think what's really interesting that you said there about First Dates, about how it's feeling like a real life situation, perhaps the realest of all of the going on a date, sitting opposite each other. I just want to touch on Love on the Spectrum, which people really love. So this is the Netflix show where neurodivergent singles navigate sometimes awkward dating life. There's no gimmicks. There's the help of their family and friends, and the help of supportive experts as well. But I think what's crucial here is it really works with the couples to find a space that they're comfy in.
Yes,
of course. If they're not happy in a dinner setting, they're at the zoo. They're on a walk.
Yeah, the format of this show is very sort of fluid. It's tailored to the participants that are on each series, and also very much it's not planned out in advance. If there's a day of filming in one location, then that person's actually like, next time we do a date or this little bit of filming, let's try it in this way. It's very much catered toward the participants. And another thing I think with Love on the Spectrum is, because of that, to me, it feels a lot more sort of documentary format as opposed to reality TV. And obviously the two formats are very similar, but I think when we talk about documentary format, it's a lot less produced. It's a lot less sort of a rigid format. So with Love on the Spectrum, you feel like you're following how they would go on that date in real life, rather than being placed in whichever restaurant or whichever place has been booked out for filming that day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right, Jake, now I think we need to bring all of this together and cook up the recipe for the perfect dating show.
What's our little conclusion?
So the first thing, the pursuit of a genuine connection. Should participants be matched up, or is a real life example of people finding their own connection gonna result in a better match?
I think it's interesting, because you would think that, finding your own genuine connection would be the best way to go about it. But then if you are struggling to find a connection and you've dated all these different people and you're not finding the one, then you think, if I'm thrown into an environment where there is other sort of 10, 15 people that are like-minded, then are you in a format and an environment where you're meeting people that are after the same goals and same situations, even if that then seems less authentic than going on a one-on-one date? So I think there's an argument there to be had for sort of both sides of the coin. I think the genuine element of going on a one-on-one date is better.
Yeah.
But if you're struggling to do that in your real life, you want to be thrown into like your Love Island environment where you're surrounded by people that are.
So I think the answer is a pool of people
Pool of people.
which matchmakers know that there are people that would suit you.
Yes.
But you go seek them out yourself.
Yeah, and then you'll probably find one, or hopefully you find one of
Hopefully
that
you'll find the
pool.
one.
And
Okay.
then, yeah, it'll just be, you don't need all the tests and the elements of the other extra bits.
Okay, perfect.
So then another element I think we've got is production and interference. How much do you think for a genuine dating show needs to be produced, or that outside voice coming in?
Yeah, so often we see producers, it's the tests, it's the Casa Amor, it's the don't touch each other, constant tension and conflict and sabotage. And that's what makes a great TV show. So as a viewer that loves watching this kind of reality TV, all of that.
Yeah.
However, I think that they are absolutely a barrier to finding real love, because on the outside, it's things like trying to fit in a date among your busy job.
Yeah.
It's the fact that your mum might not like them.
Yes.
And those are the actual real life barriers, not the fact that a boy that fancies you is over there, you know, flinging a pie in your face.
Yeah.
So I think if we're looking at a real world example of trying to find love, less tests, the better.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay, so we've talked about how the fact that environment of the show can have impact. So villa, island, or dinner dates.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this is probably actually the most crucial, because, you know, whether you're going in there for genuine reasons or not can be debated. But the environment you're in will dictate how you react anyway, because if you're in a villa and you really like someone, but then 5 minutes later you see them speaking to someone else, you're instantly gonna naturally feel a certain type of way about that. But if you're in the environment where you're on a dinner date and you've said your goodbyes, you don't know if that person has walked into a bar 10 minutes later and started chatting to someone. And so therefore you're not gonna have those kind of like eruption of feelings, because you're just unaware of what's going on. So
I feel like you've read my diary.
Yeah, I'm probably describing my own life here. But so I think the environment is probably the most crucial part, because no matter what connection or how genuine you are, if you're placed in an environment, whether it be natural or unnatural, ultimately that is going to sort of test how you react to the given situation that you're in. Another thing is physical attraction versus personality. Which one is more important, and is one more sort of vital for finding love on these shows?
Can I say both?
You can.
Because
Tell me why.
I genuinely think it's both. Look, I mean, I keep saying this, but I think the closer to slug and lettuce on a Saturday night you can get on these shows, the better the chance for longevity. Because we are humans that like, we like routine, we like structure. So you need to fancy someone, but you also need to get on with them.
Yes.
So I think that's the reason why Love is Blind for me fails slightly, because it's majoring on one and then barges in the physical attraction problem, and it's this sudden U-turn, you know, whiplash moment. So I think it needs to have both.
Yeah.
We so often see this on Love Island as well, where that first coupling is because they fancy each other and then have the chat and they're like, oh no.
We don't have the same vibe is often the line that comes out, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think the format needs to embrace both.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
Jake, prize money. Is this a barrier?
Do you know what? I think no. And the way I say that is, I think let's take Love Island as an example with prize money, because there's always been a prize fund on that show. It's always stayed the same. It's £50,000 at the end. But like we said, if you're reaching the final of a program like Love Island, I think you instantly know you're going to make that kind of money anyway. And so I don't think the actual prize fund is really something they're considering, because it's just not a great amount of money in the long scheme of things.
No.
So I don't think prize money really does come into it. I think there's other factors, sort of fame and money-wise, which would, but the actual prize fund of these specific shows, I'm going to go and say no. That might be controversial, I don't know, but I'm going to say no, I don't think it does play a part. And so then another point I think we need to consider is, how do we measure success, and what sort of success and longevity do you think is important from these programs?
Do you know what I thought was really interesting in Samraj's exit chat from Love Island? He said, we'll prove them wrong when Mika's got a fat ring on her finger and she's expecting. And I thought, You've literally just met and you're in your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that we can call success getting married and making a family.
Yeah.
To me, it's, are you happy? Is it a healthy relationship? Over about 6 months.
Yeah.
Because that's when you move past situationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're moving in together, I think that's a great sign. But look, to me, if they're coming out of this situation unscathed and happy, they're still friendly and they've learned some life lessons, then to me, that's a success.
Yeah. And also, after 6 months, they've got used to this new life if they have been thrust into a new lease of life. And therefore, if they're still together, still happy, then I think that is really the win-win.
Yeah. That's why I think that there is a slight problem with programs like Love is Blind, because it's telling them that success has to be getting married.
Yes, very true. And really, is that the end goal?
No. Right. Now I want to know, Jake, based on all of this scientific probing, what show would you go on?
I think there's two answers to this, because I think, you know, what has probably been, I would say, our biggest debate of this whole episode is, what is your intention? So I think if you're, say I was in this position where I was asked to go on one of these shows, if I was going in thinking, I want to get a career out of this, I want to do well, I want to think about my actual life longevity, then I think the obvious answer is Love Island, because it's the biggest sort of program in terms of creating stars. You're probably going to earn the most money off it. And so if, like we say with a lot of these islanders nowadays, they're going in with that view, yes, it's cynical, but you've got to think about that, I think. And so in that sense, I would pick Love Island. But then if I'm thinking more real life and who do I actually...
I want to know what Jake Penkinsman wants.
Where am I going to find love?
Yeah.
Then probably I would have to say simply First Dates, just because of the format. It's what I would say, like we said, everyone in our everyday life is most used to. It's the scenario we're probably going to be the most comfortable in and feels the most natural. And so... if I was doing it, then I think I would have to pick that one and hope for the best. But then, of course, the cynical side of me is like, well, if you're going to go on something and put yourself on TV, you might as well get a bit out of it. So why not do Love Island and take everything that comes with it? But
yeah, fair enough.
Maybe I'd just take anything that's thrown my way at this point and see what works, see if I can finally improve my love life.
Yeah. Right, now you have to ask me.
And then, same question to you. Which would you be picking? I mean, I know you're a happily married woman, but which dating show do you think would be best for you? Or...
Well, fun fact, I did once apply for Love Island.
Did you?
Well, it was sort of, a paper I previously worked for, it was suggested it might be a fun idea just to see what the application process is like.
Oh, I love this revelation.
Well, I mean, funnily enough, I didn't get on. I still think that if you're in this for fame, then Love Island is the answer. But if me, you know, in my 20s, loving life, assuming it's a different life where I'm like super hot, I would go on Too Hot to Handle because it just looks so freaking fun.
Yeah.
Like,
you know you're going to have a good time.
What an experience. Also, everyone on Too Hot to Handle is outrageously hot.
Yeah, obviously this is why I couldn't do Too Hot to Handle, because I just would not fit in. If I could in an ideal world, then you're
the bar is up here. So that's what I would go on. But I think you're right. If you're in this for love, First Dates is probably the answer.
Yeah.
And that's because it's just like real life.
It is.
Like I keep saying, slug and lettuce.
Yes.
They need to get some cameras up in the slug and lettuce.
This is a reality dating show in the making. Let's get to slug and lettuce on a weekend.
Other high street bars, obviously, you know, exist. All Bar One, Be at One, even the Spoons. So there we go. That's your dose of Showbiz Fix Uncut for this week. Remember to subscribe to us here on the Sun Showbiz YouTube channel for all the inside TV and celebrity gossip. See you next week.